What's up guys? In this video, I'm going to be giving you guys tips and tricks on how to get Prestige 3 Surge, okay? So, we're going to be watching my gameplay and some gameplay of mine, and we're going to be spectating, and I'll be talking you guys through on the things that I do. Like basically like small things that I do that you guys probably don't even notice. But yeah, anyways, with that being said, let's get straight into the video. Okay guys, before we do hop into our games and spectating my gameplay and talking through it, we need to talk about the build. So the build you're going to want to use is going to be the second gadget power shield, okay? This gadget gives you extra ammo when you pop it and you get touched. So this is going to be the better gadget. I think that most of you guys may have already known that and you guys are probably already using it. That's good news, okay? If you're doing that, you're already a step ahead from the most of the players, okay? And then the star power, I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys are also using this. It's going to be the better star power. It's going to be the second star power called Serve Ice Cold, okay? I know a lot of you guys probably are using that as well. Whenever I see people using the star power, it just makes me sick to the stomach. Please don't do that, okay? It's not a good star power. Sure, it can be okay, but this is going to be the better star power. And as for the gears, you're going to want to use the shield gear as well as the damage gear. As of right now, we don't see too many bushes, so I wouldn't say using shield gear or speed gear is going to be the best. So far, you'd want to use shield as well as damage. This is going to be the best gears, okay? Anyways, let's get into the video. Even before the game starts, I look to see which my opponents are, okay? You look at what your opponents are going to be like. For example, for me, the biggest threats are Edgar and Sirius in this lobby. So that's the one thing I pay attention to, okay? Always be paying attention. Pay attention to who's around you. So now I know that Edgar's and as well as Sirius is going to be the biggest threat, which is why you pay attention to who your enemy is even before the game starts, okay? So you don't get a surprise attack or anything. And then there's Ali. Ali is also an assassin, so he could be pretty annoying as well because he's pretty annoying. But yeah, notice how I ignore Amber. Notice that, okay? Avoiding the brawlers that you can't kill is the smartest thing you can do. And then I notice how there's a series on the right, and I know these guys are going to be running to the left, which is initially why I tried to kill them. But I kind of made a mistake of not going for the bull. Going for the bull would have probably been better. Okay, I don't know why the bull stopped there, but yeah, it would have been better because like, what's that called? Because the Ali can just dash away, right? But yeah, notice how I got a nice kill on the bull and then supered away, okay? To avoid Amber attacks, okay? Because Amber is super fast and Amber is also annoying, but you shouldn't be surprised on Amber because it's not like she's going to be camping or jumping you as Edgar would, right? But notice how I see Ali. I was actually preparing to kill him. So I was waiting till he gets a surprise attack here, which he gets a surprise attack right there. Nice 3 taps. And then I noticed how there's 2 Siriuses, one on top and one on the right. Sometimes it's kind of hard to deal with Siriuses, but notice how I already have stage 4. It's going to be easier to deal with them, okay? Notice how I focus on 1 Sirius at a time. If you focus on 2 Sirius, and then notice how I just jump the shadows, okay? Don't be afraid to jump the shadows, please. I know a lot of you guys probably would have been running or supering away. Supering the shadows is a good thing sometimes, okay? By the way, these tips is not only for one map. The tips that I give you guys for a certain map might not work for another, but for this specific map though, it's a lot of walls. So this map is basically built for Sirius as well as Edgar. So those 2 brawlers are going to be your biggest threat and the type of brawlers you need to watch out for, okay? And yeah, anyways, notice how Sirius was one shot over here, so I kind of finished him off. And Amber versus Sirius, so I kind of let them fight it out a little bit, and I do want to get as much kills as I can, right? So I weakened the shadows here because Sirius is still the most threatening other than Amber. Nice steal. I stole the kill from Amber, getting me the freaking nice win. So one thing that I would take away from that match is notice how I ignored the Amber at the start, and then towards the end, I still came back to the Amber to be able to finish him off. So yeah, I mean, I hope you guys took away from a couple of things from that match. Now we're going to go to the second match and show you guys the things that I do differently. Okay guys, let's talk about the second game. Again, make sure you guys pay attention to the brawlers around you. I know that there's a few Edgars as well as Siriuses. Again, the most dangerous. Okay, one more thing. Main attack size is going to be the better one compared to the 30% slowing enemy stuff, okay? That's going to be the second one because it can deal with Siriuses easier. Again, ignoring the brawlers you can't kill, okay? take that away again. So checking out who's in the lobby. Second thing, ignoring the brawlers if you can't kill them. At the start, since I don't have stage 4, it's gonna be harder to deal with Sirius, which I do ignore. A lot of the times I ignore Sirius at the beginning, especially if they spawn next to me, okay? Notice how I super. I probably should have kept it because there was an Edgar around me. So yeah, I mean, if you got this type of nano power, I would most of the time I keep my super until I'm able to get it. But now I'm getting away from Edgars. Now I have super. I don't have to be too careful of them. Notice how I actually, instead of continuously going up, and notice how I waited for the Brock to jump over the wall, making predictions basically. Notice how I predicted where bro was gonna jump and then waited there, pretended like I was gonna go up when really I'm waiting for him to use the gadget, waiting for him there and then finishing him off. I feel like a lot of the below average players don't do that. Like they're not very good at predicting where the enemies are, whether because they have less experience in the game or they just are just not there yet, I guess. But yeah, making predictions is important. Notice how I hit the Edgar to get your super. Getting your super is so important. Okay, listen, I kind of want to use these Edgars to kill Siriuses. Notice how they're both Siriuses from each side of the map and with both with shadows, okay? And right now, at this moment, I know for a fact I'm not in a good position, okay? Now I'm in a better one, but notice how there's an Edgar on my left as well as on the right. And I'm kind of stuck because there's also a Sirius on my right. So one thing I did right here, watch, okay? Watch what I do to get a good positioning or a better spot to be in, especially for endgame. I had to kill one of the Edgars. I decided to kill the one with less cubes because I knew I'd be able to 3-top him if he didn't react quick enough. Now, I'm going to be using this Edgar to finishing off Siriuses, okay? So, I kind of waited out a bit. I don't want to shoot both Siriuses again. Notice how I focus on one Sirius at a time. I noticed how the Edgar jumped in and I stole the kill, okay? Stealing kills is also the biggest thing. I had a feeling this Edgar wouldn't kill me because I know that he also wants to kill the Siriuses as bad as me. Notice how I jumped the Sirius when the shadows were low, okay? So anyways, let's go back and review what the few of the things that I did differently compared to the first match. Okay, let's go ahead and review what happened. So here is the biggest thing you guys probably don't notice. I know that the Primo's running away and he would be an easier target compared to Brock, right? But if I had chased the Primo instead of staying to fight the Brock, guess what would have happened? The Brock would pinch me eventually into the Primo. So I would be stuck between the Primo as well as Brock. And Brock would literally have an easier time pinching me. But instead, I stayed to fight the Brock. And then right there and then, guess what I did? So I kind of waited, right? So I kept Brock low. I hit him once, right? And then as I enter the bush, I know that he doesn't see me. So he's going to think I'm going for him, right? Right there is when I made the move. Notice how I turned back right there because I had a feeling he'd jump, okay? He jumped this way exactly into the cubes. And then I waited for him and then finishing him off. So that's going to be the biggest thing I did there. So ignoring Primo and then staying to fight the Brock and making the predictions. Another thing I did is notice here how there are two Edgars and they kind of blocked my way, okay? Especially in endgame, it's so important to get a good spot, especially endgame. So I noticed that one of them only had one cube and he took the spot that I was originally in. And it's kind of risky to keep him alive, especially for endgame. So I kind of decided to kill him right there to take my spot back. Now look at how much more space I got. Another thing that I did this game, notice how I waited for the right side of the Sirius shadows to weaken and then I shot the shadows a bit and then I jumped in. So basically I waited for the shadows to weaken and I knew I would be able to finish them off, okay? Because especially considering how I had a hypercharge, okay? So yeah, weakening the shadows before going in, especially aggressively, is an important task to do, okay? Once you are able to weaken the shadows, Sirius becomes such an easier target. He's basically a walking thrower, okay? So he's gonna be just an easier target. So definitely weaken the shadows. That's why getting stage 4 is so critical. It's very, very important. Also, notice how I wasn't even the one who weakened the shadows, okay? Waiting for another person to weaken the shadows is also a good thing, okay? Because I just went in based off the fact that his shadows HP is very, very low. And he had lesser freaking shadows as well. Anyways, guys, let's hop into the next match. Hopefully the final one because this video might be long. And let's go ahead and see what I do either the same or differently. Anyways, guys, again, check out to see who's in your lobby. I noticed how there are Edgars again in this lobby. And okay, here's the thing. Use supercharge automatically over time. That's the best nano power, okay? The second one is the bigger shots, but this is going to be the best one. Notice how I avoid the bush in the right side even though there are 2 cubes, because there's going to be someone who spawns there, okay? Know your spawn points and the opponent's spawn points, okay? The Edgar would have most definitely killed me because of the shield gadget, no matter what if I went in the bush. Ignore bushy stuff, okay? And now I'm in a not the best thing. Notice how I use super now because I know that I can automatically charge it, okay? But it's still gonna be dangerous if you're not close to super. You don't have to be too afraid of Edgars as long as you are close to super. Okay, notice how I am actually now targeting and locking onto the Shelly. Guess why? Because I know that Shelly is one of the brawlers, one of the biggest brawlers that I counter in Showdown, okay? Especially at least compared to freaking Serious as well as Edgar. So notice how the Miko kind of screwed up. I don't know why he's trying to target Shelly, even though Shelly kind of does really good into Miko. So look, I'm still targeting freaking Shelly, okay? I know there's an Edgar in that bush, right? So I finished off the Shelly. I'm very careful of the Edgar, which is why I topped him up, okay? He would have definitely, I promise you that Edgar would have 100% jumped me if I didn't have super. It doesn't matter how many cubes I have. As long as he has the shield gadget, he would have jumped me, okay? And then checking bushes is very important. You don't want to make any mistakes. You have to be very careful. Now I have super. Even though I have the automatic charge super, I'm not supering just because of that, just to get stage 4, okay? And one biggest thing, stay away from other Edgar's super range. If you don't have your super, stay away from their super range, okay? If you're in their super range, and especially if you don't have super, they will kill you. Notice how I use super now because they're no longer in my super range. And if they are getting my attack range, I will be getting super, okay? Now that I don't have super, I'm keeping distance from their super range. Always do that, okay? And here's what actually ended up happening in this match. One of the Edgar makes their biggest mistakes. Notice how I'm close to super now, so getting in their super range is okay, okay? So if any Edgar does make a mistake on jumping me, he will probably freaking trade and suicide. When he jumped in, I knew I was already close to super. I jumped away, and then I supered away. Getting top 3 is okay right there, okay? So anyways, let's go ahead and review what I actually did differently or the same that you guys probably didn't notice. One thing that I did is I avoided the bush, okay? So I avoided the bush and decided to go for the one single cube right there, okay? And when I did that, it was safer for the Edgar as well as me, okay? I mean, sure, so letting go of the 2 cubes is probably like, oh, no, you know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, after I took the cube, I could have probably stayed and fight, but it would probably be not worth it because Edgar could just run away, right? So yeah, anyways, that's one of the things I did differently. You guys probably may have or may have not noticed that, but yeah, I mean, I did avoid the bushes, okay? So avoid the bushes, especially at the start, especially on this map. Another thing that I did is whenever usually I have the automatic supercharge, supering at the start is okay, especially to take the cubes faster, okay? One biggest reason why I say that is okay to super to get the cubes is because Edgars most likely will not be having the cubes at the start a lot of the times unless they get a kill, right? So Edgars will not be getting the super quick, okay? I mean, they have a nano power that gets them a super quick, but a lot of times Edgars use the range, okay? So yeah, supering at the start is okay, especially to open boxes and especially if you have the automatic supercharge, okay? But usually whenever I have a bigger shot, depending on the situation, I don't use super right away. But in this case, it's okay to super right away, especially if you have the automatic charge super and considering how the Edgars would not be getting super until later on. The third thing that I did, some of you guys probably will notice this, but yeah. Anyways, notice how when the Edgar jumped me, I just super away, okay? If you do auto aim your super, you're gonna not be able to knock the enemy back. If some of you guys probably may not know, but the Edgar's gadget, if the Edgar has the buffy, it has the ability to stay immune. So if you auto aim your super, you will not knock him back. If you guys are wondering, that's the reason why, okay? You're not gonna be able to knock him back, okay? And notice that before the Edgar jumped me, I was low-key getting close to super. That's why it's okay to be in his range. Like I said, if you're close to super, this is the reason why it's okay to be in the Edgar's super range, okay? It was basically the Edgar's fault or mistake for jumping me and suiciding onto me. I mean, he ended up taking 4th and getting me the 3rd placement. In this case, it's okay to get 3rd, okay? Especially considering how the Edgar made a mistake of jumping a Surge, not knowing whether he's close to super or not. And if you're facing a good Surge, he knows what he's doing, so you can't just easily get a kill on him, especially if you're playing Edgar, okay? So yeah, one thing to take away, okay? So I was close to super, that's why I wasn't afraid to be in his range. And then Once I got super, I jump away. I didn't auto aim, okay? And then I jump again over the wall just in case I survived there. But in that case, I couldn't because it's serious. Anyways, I got the top 3 for that, and that's gonna be the other biggest thing that I took away from that match. Anyways, let's hop into the third one, and this might be the last tip I might give you guys, so pay close attention to it. Let's go. Okay, again, for the next match, okay, I pay attention to the lobby, and I noticed how there aren't very many Edgars as well as Sirius this lobby. So this kind of gives me more flexible and more chance of winning, okay? Again, use super automatic charge, okay? This is going to be the best nano power. But yeah, always pay attention to who's in your lobby because it'll tell you whether you to play aggressive or not. I knew that there was someone in there. I didn't know if it was an Edgar or something, but I just attack and then I super away because I know I will get super. So notice how I got my super back. And notice how I jumped the Edgar. The only reason why I jumped him is because I know that he had just wasted his gadget, okay? The shield gadget. Here, I could have probably finished him off. I thought he was going to run into the bush. But in this case, the Edgar does get away, okay? But pay attention to what I did there, okay? I only jumped him because of the fact that he'd already used the shield gadget and he wouldn't stay immune. The only times you don't want to jump an Edgar is when you know that he still has a gadget and he's on cooldown. But yeah, notice how I did that. Okay, here I know that I could get stage 4, but I kind of waited out, okay, just to test out the waters to see what happens, because I know there's a Surge as well as Pero on the right. Notice how I'm fighting the Surge because he literally is only still on stage 1. That Surge is playing super smart because he's keeping his super, probably because he has a bigger shots. Notice how I literally don't let that Pero go in my bush. You know why? That would put you in a very terrible spot. I don't know why the Pero would try to go in my bush. Keep him away, okay? Always fight for your space. And now look who's stuck in a bad space. Look who's in a bad spot now. He is. If I let him in the bush, he would have probably gadgeted me, one-shotted me, or in bad cases, he would have let you run into other enemies. So fight for your goddamn freaking spaces. Very critical and important. And I'm fighting the Surge mainly because he doesn't have range. He doesn't even have super. I mean, he has super. He's being smart. He probably he probably doesn't have the best nano power. That's why he's keeping. He's probably playing smart. Okay, I actually get a very lucky kill here because the Pero was already one shot after killing someone else. Okay, a different opponent. Now there's 3 players left, and I don't have to be. Usually, when I have way more cubes compared to the other Edgars, I don't have to be afraid of getting in a super range. Okay, so notice how I shoot the Edgar, right, and then I basically finish him off after he used the gadget. Nice. Okay, so if we go back and review, right, notice how the Edgar played aggressive and used the gadget. I knew that he'd already used the invisible gadget of his, which is the only reason why I jumped in, because I knew I'd be able to knock him back, okay? Notice here how I also could have finished him off, okay? But I didn't super, just in case he got cooldown. That's how passive I play. But if you guys are pushing Prestige 3, you guys can probably be just a little bit more aggressive than me, which is not terrible, okay? But notice how I just kind of like keep my peace and just stay clear, okay? So I already have stage 3. There's no need to continue to fight. I know that I could have probably finished them off, but it would just be risky for me specifically because I'm very high in trophy. It's just some of the things that I can't do different. Like, this is just some of the things that I have to do differently compared to what you guys probably would be if you guys are pushing Prestige 3 compared to pushing a Prestige 7, right? That's just going to be very different gameplays and different times, okay? So yeah, anyways, yeah, just take away from that is basically supering into the Edgar when he's already used the invisible gadget of his. And yeah, that's it, pretty much it for that. Let's see what I do differently with the other gameplay. The other thing that I did, some of you guys probably also see this if you guys are like average Surge players, okay? Notice how the Pero tried to go in my bush. You do not want to let that happen. Some of you guys are too trusty. Don't let that happen. He can one-shot you, he can gadget you, he can very well easily kill you. And in some cases, he will put you in a bad spot with either against the Edgar or Surge. So you're forced to basically run away from the space compared to fighting for it. So please fight for your space, okay? Do not be afraid to fight for your space, especially if the enemy is trying to invade it, okay? So yeah, notice how the Pero now is in a very bad spot. That would have been me if I didn't shoot him out. The Pero would literally be you if you don't shoot him out, okay? So please keep the enemies away from your space. Getting as much space as possible is very important. Another thing, the last thing for this game that I did differently, okay, or at least, yeah. But notice how when I hypercharged, even though I used hypercharge, I wait for the Edgar to make the first move, okay? As a Surge, especially against the Edgar, it's kind of sometimes okay to play passive. You don't have to be always aggressive. Well, I kind of did play aggressively passive passive aggressive. Okay, there you go, passive aggressive against the Edgar. Okay, because I did use hypercharge, but just because I used hypercharge doesn't mean that I supered. Okay, but one more thing that I noticed with the Edgar is that he's already used his shield gadget before he supered. So I know that if he supers, that he's still gonna die no matter what. So once he jumped in, I super automatically. Okay, just in case, even if he survives, that I will still be able to knock him back and then finishing him off. Okay, but if he didn't use his shield gadget and he supered me, I would most likely super away. But I mean, I did pop a hypercharge, I could probably still kill him, and plus I have more cubes. So in this case, it might be a bit different than most of the times, but that's gonna be the one thing I did there to be able to win the freaking match. Anyways, guys, I think we're gonna do one more just for you guys, and because I know that there's gonna be like literally a lot of tips that I can give you guys. So yeah, anyways, let's go ahead and do one more to see what I did either differently or the same. Okay, the final tip, okay? Again, pay attention to the lobby, and then automatic supercharge is going to be the best nano power, okay? So yeah, anyways, let's go ahead and pay attention to see what I do differently or the same. Notice how I just go in the bush, okay? And I know that a 9 out of 10, a lot of the freaking below average players will do the exact same thing this Damien is doing. He has no situational awareness of who his surrounding is or what his surroundings will be. That's what led him to die. Don't be like that, Damien. Always be aware of your surroundings and making some pretty what's it called? Let's say pretty bushy plays like that, I would say, or pretty sneaky plays. There you go, pretty sneaky plays like that is probably okay too. Okay, notice how I'm kind of like chilling a little bit, charging up my super, not too aggressive or anything, just getting super as close of super as you can. Okay, notice how once I'm getting close to super, I kind of go out to see who's around me. Okay, now that I'm close to super, I can play some aggressive plays. I saw a bull in the open that gonna help me get the kill on him. Okay, I don't know what the bull was doing in the open, but it helped me kill him. Okay, Melody is going to be the biggest threat here. I don't see any seriouses or anything. This lobby, that's why it's important to pay attention to the lobby. So far, anyways, right? But I know that there's a Melody in there, right? But notice something, okay? On the top left of the bar, okay? You guys will see something interesting here. Well, I guess some of you guys probably already pay attention to this, but yeah, okay, notice how the Melody got a kill on the top left. So I knew the Melody was in the bush before, right? But when I saw the Melody got a kill and I knew that the kill didn't happen in front of me, I know that for a fact the Melody is not in the bush. So I don't have to do too much checking, so I just kind of go straight in the middle. Guess what? Now I'm in control, okay? So here I could have probably jumped Melody or anything, right? But he has notes, so I kind of don't do that, especially as a Prestige 6 Surge. It's too like risky to make plays like that. Some of you guys probably can go for it or something if you want to be a little aggressive, but yeah, anyways, notice how I knew somebody just entered the bush, so I don't want to go in there, and I'm not supering yet, even though I have automatic charge super. Okay, you don't want to always super, keep your super. Okay, it's kind of important, especially end game, right? But yeah, anyways, Melody is going to be the most threatening again out of the three here. So yeah, I mean, notice how I'm basically like guessing where Melody is going to be. Okay, I mean, I guess if you're a good player, you can guess where Melody is gonna be. So yeah, anyways, that's Melody does die, even though it's not by me. Brock does get a kill, but here I'm able to finish off the Brock. Anyways, let's go back and review to see what I did the same or differently. Okay, so the one thing I did in that lobby is going in the bush, and I noticed how the Damien was coming out, so I just wait for him to waste his amos and basically just play it out and being a little sneaky. Okay, once I noticed that he's basically just weakened the freaking cubes for me, I kind of used them up a little bit and I killed him. So please have some situational awareness. Okay, you can at least learn from the Damien. So 9 out of 10, or not, I wouldn't say 9 out of 10, but some of the times things like this will happen, especially if it's a bad player doing that. Okay, and spawns in a bad spot, just getting the cubes, not being aware of his surroundings. Okay, so yeah, making some sneaky plays like that can be good, and it can be very helpful, and it can help you charge your super even faster. One other thing to take away from this match is notice how I was checking the bush and being afraid of the middle, right? But because I knew that the Melody went in there, right? But I noticed how the Melody got a kill on the top left of the freaking screen, so I knew that Melody was not there, because if Melody was there, I would be seeing him shooting shots and such, right? But when I noticed that Melody got a kill, I kind of go in there because I knew Melody's no longer in there. So basically checking to see if who gets the kills and such, and in this case, especially in this case, I knew that Melody was in the middle, and when I saw the top left of my screen, it basically confirmed to me that Melody has left. So pay attention to who's dying and such, sometimes can be very helpful as well. The last thing to note, okay, notice how when I hit the melody, he hit me, right? Once he hits me, he gets the notes. So I follow pattern based off of where he is because of his notes. The notes basically give away where he is at. You can make at least more guesses of where he could be. So basically what's to say is that I basically used them from the notes. So noticing his pattern of where he goes based off of the notes that he has, okay, because it can kind of show you where he travels, and then you can make even better, it can help you make an even better guesses of where the melody will be. So this is basically, this I would say this is like a skill thing. It can help you a little bit, but yeah, anyways, that's gonna be the last thing that we take away from that, and it also helped me get the dub. Anyways, guys, that is everything that I showed you guys from the matches that I've shown you, okay? To be honest, like, I could go on and on about the tips that I can give you guys. Like, I could do this all day. I mean, there's literally so much freaking tips I can give you guys. Like, I could do this all day. But yeah, I mean, I guess this video turned out to be a bit longer than I thought. But I really, really hope this guide has helped you guys at least to push a little bit higher, or even motivated you guys to even play Surge, okay? But yeah, anyways, we have come to an end of the video. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I hope this also helps you guys at least a little bit to help you guys get Prestige 3 Surge. Anyways, guys, this is not going to be the end of the video. I hope this guide has helped you, and I will see. Let me know if you guys want to see more guides such as this, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.